Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this sort of brief introduction to the thing that you've signed up for and probably have not much knowledge of. We just thought we'd do this sort of brief explanation of what everything is, how it's going to work, hopefully answer sort of most of the frequently asked questions. And then I think just the main point is we've got a WhatsApp group with all of the volunteers and the three people that are here today, Andy, Josh, and myself. So if you've got any questions or, the night before or whilst you're there, the quickest and easiest way to get a quick response is obviously to speak to us, or on the day when you're there, you might find someone just from Tesla to answer any questions if you're really struggling. But it should be nice and enjoyable, and just basically kit back with a coffee and chat to people about ownership, and answer most of the basic questions that they might have. So we'll run through briefly, I think, to start. I don't know if Andy wants to lead with sort of the process of how a new owner arrives on site, and sort of where you guys will pick up from.
Hi, yeah. So new owners arrive, they walk in, and then the first thing they do, maybe there's a queue or maybe not, and then they queue up and they meet. There'll probably be 2, maybe 3, we don't know, depending on the size of the site, desks that will be looked after by Tesla people, Tesla staff. They will be welcoming them, and they will be then going through all the paperwork for the handover of the car, like confirming payment, etc. And then they will actually hand them the RFID keys, and they will then take them out, or in fact, I think they get escorted to their car. So our place is to be outside, to be asked if anyone. They will be told that there are some owners here that you can ask questions. They won't necessarily want to ask any, but if they do, then they need to come to us and ask them. And this is why we need to wear the lanyards. We are not there as Tesla staff, obviously, which is why we cannot wear anything that's Tesla branded. But we can wear something that says, oh, we should say our name and that we're the Owners Club. And then if we are invited on ask questions, then we can help them. And
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
I know you're going to edit this, right?
We might not. Yeah, so that's that. And I think the fundamental thing that I think from Tesla's side of things is that they don't want any of us to sort of dampen someone's what it should be very enjoyable and exciting day of picking up their brand new car. So they don't want us to go around and say, oh, have you seen that little mark here, or I had this problem with my car, you better watch out for that. They don't want that. And as we all know, cars from 2 years ago or even 6 months or a year ago are completely different in quality and all those things than the ones today. I mean, it's night and day compared to
Chinese
2 years ago.
Quality. All the cars will be from China. Yeah. And the quality of them is considerably higher, even, as you said, even from 6 months ago. Yeah.
And I think as well, just on that point, it's worth mentioning that we will be, as the owners, we'll be stationed towards depending which site you're at, but towards the back of the stand. So it's probably best if you wait to be approached by the new owners, as opposed to people approaching owners that are looking around their cars, for example.
Yeah, and I think again, just speak to the manager that's on your site, because they might want it done in a different way slightly. We're there just to be, I say to grab a coffee and just chat Tesla, and just maybe you just want to have a little wander about, but you're not going up to people and double checking that they're okay, really. But just there, if someone's trying to catch your eye, or maybe catch Tesla's eye, and they're being missed, then that's the chance where you could jump in and say, oh, can I help with anything? And then if there's any quality issues, that sort of stuff, they just want you to go and approach Tesla and say, look, this customer's got something they want to raise, and that would be going through the service element.
Don't get involved in any issue between the new owner and Tesla. That is not our role. Our role is to simply help the new owner adjust to their car, adjust to their electric car, ask any questions about the operation of their car, charging, whatever. We know the normal questions people ask, and enjoy the excitement of the owner. Many of them I'm sure will have been having sleepless nights before in excitement, hopefully we all did when we
I'm
first.
having them already.
Yeah, exactly. So there are some sort of ground rules which you all have ticked. That I think there's 20 on the Google form that you've all signed up to get to this point. I appreciate it's quite long-winded, lots of it, but I'll just reiterate some of the points from their side. You know, like Andy touched on, we're not here to be Tesla. We are not Tesla. We're not doing any of Tesla's jobs. So they don't want you moving cars. They don't want you cleaning cars. They don't want any of that sort of stuff very much. We're just, like Andy said, here to answer questions, and that's about it. We're here to chat to owners, welcome them to the club as well, because we obviously want people to come into the Tesla family and also into our club family. So there's sort of, if there's chance to chat about some of the benefits of the club, which I'll come on to later, then please do that. You need to make your way to the facility yourself and report to they call it the operations supervisor, so the manager in the delivery hub. Andy mentioned it again, no Tesla merchandise. Now, in theory, you could wear like an owner's club. So if you had an owner's club polo shirt or t-shirt, possibly. But again, touching on Andy's point about the weather, most likely you're going to probably be 90% of the time outside. So you're going to want to dress warm, and you probably don't want to wear a polo shirt over your jacket. So yeah, get a lanyard if you've not got one already. Phone number, going to put you all into WhatsApp chat. That's already started, so you should get that any day. The submission of dates is not guaranteed, so please check the spreadsheet to see your allocated time. And if you need to move that about, it's probably best to try and find someone within maybe the WhatsApp that wants to swap versus, say, coming to myself or Andy or Josh, because it's going to make our lives a lot easier if you can swap in and out with someone else that's already got a slot maybe that you want. Your data will be shared with Tesla, obviously. We need you to identify yourself as working for Tesla Owners UK, sort of a volunteer versus Tesla. And you're not going to be able to enter any offices, staff rooms, that sort of stuff without being with a Tesla employee. You don't need to go through any of the paperwork for the customer. Again, pretty self-explanatory, and not discuss any personal concerns with your car or their car, but basically tell them, you know, if you've got this problem, you know, maybe take some photos and speak with the staff on site, or speak with a service centre via the app to get any issues addressed. Health and safety stuff, standard stuff. Follow the guidelines from the Tesla team. Don't be abusive. I don't think we need to really say that, but it's there to cover bases. You won't move the vehicles, like I touched on. Raise any customer concerns with Tesla. You won't make any claims, guarantees, or predictions on behalf of Tesla. It's basically go to tesla.com or Elon's Twitter page. If anyone says, you know, is such and such a feature coming? I'd like to do this with my car. Does it do that, or will it do that in the future? Basically, Tesla don't want us to say anything, because if it doesn't happen, then obviously someone might forget that it's an owner telling them that versus an employee. So, you know, in 6 months' time, they say, well, this employee at this handover told me X, when we don't want that to come back sort of as a negative from this experience. Respect customer employee privacy. So if you want to take photos, then basically try not to, but you're allowed to do it, but just, you know, try and keep people's faces away from any of that. They can't have identifiable faces, I think it says, and license plates in any of the pictures. And then don't mention the number of cars that you've seen delivered or collected or arriving on site or whatever. Basically, just the numbers are within the earnings call. And then from that was sort of it from the sort of terms and conditions sort of guidelines sort of thing. So a bit abrupt, but
can I say two more?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
First one is, if someone starts kicking off, an owner starts kicking off, I would pull back and just immediately alert Tesla that there's a problem. Literally, do not get involved. We're not there to get between the owner and Tesla. That's their relationship. Nothing to do with us. We're there simply to help. Second reason is, Second thing is, please encourage people, if they have questions, to sign up and do one of our induction events, where we've got an hour-long slide. We take them through all the big issues, and then they've got an hour Q&A at the end, where they can ask us any question. So we encourage them. And in fact, well, it's every other Monday. I mean, if the numbers go mad, we may have to start doing that every Monday, but please encourage them to do that, because they'll learn a lot.
And they can sign up via the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I would be aware of is, where are the local superchargers? Because some people may pick up their car and then actually they may have quite a trip back home. Now, the cars should all be, I think it was 40% they should all have. So they should all.
Yeah, so it's between 40 and 60 is the aim, but primarily the aim for 60% on most of them.
But some owners may immediately want to do some charging. So if you know where the local superchargers are, to help them and say, this is where, help them, maybe show, if they're asked, show them where to, select it in the sat nav, and it will take them there.
Yeah, for sure. And that actually brings on to my next point, which was just about sort of what we as a club offer. And you, apologies for sort of repeating ourselves, especially some of you that know the club sort of inside and out. But like Andy touched on, the owner orientation. So that's like an hour and a half virtual session, taking someone from a novice to an expert. We've got one-on-one owner mentorship. So if there was a particular owner that you could really tell was really fresh into electric cars and had not the best confidence with it, and maybe an hour session with a group isn't ideal for them, we can do that one-on-one stuff. So that's via the Facebook group, and you can find someone that's local to you with maybe similar ideas of in life, that sort of thing. We've also got the onboarding stuff, which is like the self-service guides. And then obviously the owner's manual as well is another big one, and getting new owners to understand that that's available obviously in the car, which is weird for most people because most cars don't have a manual built in on the screen, and then obviously saving it on your phone. The ability that within that is that you can then search within that, which I personally find really useful. If I want to learn about how to take the wipers off, I just type in the word wipers in my phone, boom, it's straight on my phone. I've not got to scroll through.
in the screen as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So selection of discounts, obviously, for our members is quite an important thing, and it's sort of the whole idea with that was to try and make the cost of membership effectively zero, because you would sign up and then get a discount almost straight away on something you were going to probably buy anyway. So again, referencing that's great. And then the events, we're trying to do more and more events nationwide, from the top of Scotland to the south of England and all across. So pushing that, because that's really the fundamental part of the club, is enjoying your car, speaking to new people with some similar beliefs and that sort of thing. Monthly newsletter, email newsletter, which sort of is good for the people that don't want to just be on Facebook scrolling every day. We try to sort of digest the month of news and top posts and that sort of stuff. So that's quite a good one. If someone says, oh well, I don't do Facebook or I don't do Twitter, whatever, then we've got that monthly newsletter, which is quite nice. The discussion groups, obviously most of you will all be on Facebook, but we've obviously got Twitter, Instagram as well, so there's a bit more there, and then all the articles, technical advice, downloadables from the website, which is really sort of the next level above, but it's there if people need it. And then we're just pushing people at the moment to Tesla Owners .uk, which is our sort of new URL, and now within the site, depending on when you are there should also be some signage about the club, with a QR code that people can scan on their phones to take them to sort of like a welcome page, which explains how to join the club, how to follow us on Twitter, how to go to events, that sort of stuff. So that might be worth just having a look at and understanding how that works as well, to push people to it. And we don't want people to be, I say push, but we don't really want you to be forcing it upon them. It's just sort of like almost an introduction to come back. If you wanted to learn more, just so you know, we've got the club. and it's got these benefits that you might find useful. That sort of,
some people may not be interested at all. They just want to pick up their car and go straight away, which is
possibly
completely fine. What we're there to help is where some people do want more, and we're there to help them so the Tesla staff can get on with delivering cars. So
for sure,
that's what we're there to do.
And I think the main point, on that would be to, although the mentorship and everything does exist, I think the main place to push people is to the online event on a Monday evening. And people, because we do mention the mentorship in the evening as well, because obviously everybody would prefer to have a one-on-one, but so far we've had, I think, 1,400 people through the Monday night registrations. We probably couldn't scale doing 1,400 one-on-ones. So it would be key to sort of push them to that first, and then if they're struggling after they've done that event, we can probably then push them towards a mentorship, or not push them, point them towards the mentorship, and that's probably the best route.
Yeah, and just to clarify on that point, Josh, the one-on-one stuff isn't with someone from the owners club. That is another owner within the owners club. So it would be just a random owner that's local to you. That's the idea. But yeah, completely agree. So maybe we just touch on briefly some of the questions that we think people are going to ask. I know we've touched on that already, but what Josh, what do you think you're going to be the top five?
Wow, good question. So what's our weekly question, Andy?
Well, I'm not going to go to our weekly question. Hopefully that won't come out.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
No.
So the ones will be charge limit, I believe. So one question we get asked a lot is, should I charge my car to 100%, 90%, 80%? I've read this on the internet, blah blah blah. The way to determine that now, or the best way to determine that now, is in the vehicle itself. When you go to set the charge limit, if it has a daily limit indicator on there, which it should be, the long range and the performance cars will have daily limits, and they will be, as standard, 90% is a daily limit. So on a daily basis, you shouldn't charge more than 90%. The Standard Range Plus, or the Model 3 as it's now called, but depending on when they're delivered or when they've come into the country, some will still be classed as Standard Range Plus, I guess, but they will be LFP batteries and they can be safely charged to 100% every day. Again, in the vehicle, on the indicator of the set charge limit, it'll just not have the daily limit section. So that's a question every single week. And because people do start watching YouTube and this, that, and the other, they get a little bit of an understanding, and then obviously that leads to confusion. So that's a question every single week we get asked. The next one's probably about setting up phone key and account differences. So I'll probably combine them two together. So the Tesla account and sharing a vehicle with another person often gets asked. So if I want my partner to drive the car, how do I do that? So there's obviously different ways to do that depending on how they've purchased the car. They can just simply share the Tesla account, which has caused issues, for example, in the past for some owners. Or they can ask, if it's a lease, they need to ask the lease company to add their partner's email address as an account, sign up for an account and set that up. Or if they've purchased it through, I think, on a PCP or by cash, they will have a full My Tesla account. They can log into the My Tesla account on the internet and they can add users themselves to access the car. So that's the three real ways. There may be some other ones outside that, they're a bit spurious, but they should be the three main ones. And then following that, they'll say, can I get set up on phone key? So this will depend. Most people, I would expect, the phone should be showing in their app at point of delivery. There will be an occurrence here and there where it may not do. In that point, you need to point them back towards a Tesla staff to ask the question, and they will either tell them, yes, I can do it for you now, or no, you're going to have to wait 24, 48 hours or whatever it may be. If it is showing in their app, it'll be best is to link quickly to the phone key. Obviously, some of you will have Model 3s at the minute. It is quite a straightforward process. But I think there's a 30-second, 1-minute video that we can link to for those of you who are the S and X owners that have not had the pleasure of phone key yet. So that will be helpful. Then what else have you got there, Andy?
Hold mode. which if you're a free owner, you'll be aware of. If you're a pre-Raven S or X owner, it's a new drive mode, which is effectively like one pedal driving. That's quite. I mean, like Robert Llewellyn didn't know about it for about a year after it was released. So yeah, a lot of people.
So just to clarify, that is different to the old hold mode. That was, you basically release the accelerator and the car will come to a complete stop, whereas the old hold mode would just continue on until you put the foot on the brake and then you held the brake and then it went into sort of a hold mode. So it is different.
Yes, it's a driving mode as opposed to a driver assistance tool.
It is a driving mode, yeah. So where you have creep roll, you now have creep roll hold. So there's an extra mode. We sometimes mention setting the speed limit for the cruise control, because by default it tries to set it to the speed, and you can now set it just so then it sets to the speed you're driving. Because sometimes people think there's like unintended acceleration with that. I'm trying to think of anything else that's. Oh yeah, the other thing, superchargers always go for V3 with a Model 3, which of course is the single cable, if you can, because obviously they're all CCS. So
yeah, that's it. And I think the only other thing will probably be people going, "What's this mobile connector thing?" And what's this? I don't know if it's still blue or is it black, the Type 2 cable.
There is a mixture, I believe. Some are still getting delivered with blue, some are getting delivered with black.
Which you should all know and obviously understand how that works. So I guess it's just a bit of maybe an explanation of where to use, and maybe also, you know, the likes of ZapMap or PlugShare. Those are maybe the apps to use, or navigation. Obviously now within the nav within the car can show some of those as well. So maybe that might be a question.
And if they want a cable, Tesla sell them for only £100, those Medicare cables, which
is a bargain.
A bargain. I mean, even people were even selling them secondhand for 150 and thinking they would get a bargain. So yeah, Tesla do them although I don't think they'll have them on site.
No, but the car will come with Type 2 anyway, won't it?
Yeah, but it won't be 3-phase. It will do 7 kilowatt, but it won't do 11 kilowatt. So if they got 3-phase, they're going to have to buy a cable, an upgrade. They lowered the spec of the cable to make it cheaper.
Got it. And also, just for those that don't know, there's also a newer mobile connector. So if you've got an older S or X, the mobile connector is now different. So it might be worth just asking Tesla to have a quick look at that. It's pretty much the same. Well, it's not, but it does.
Again, it doesn't do the 3-phase.
It doesn't do 3-phase, yeah, but the rest.
You don't get all the same adapters.
And the adapters are just a different fitment. But yeah, maybe if you want to have a look at that,
it's more compact. Yeah.
Cool. Any other sort of obvious, frequently asked questions that owners are going to want to ask?
Now, I suppose in Thorpe Park, you're going to get people asking about the congestion zone, the congestion charge, which of course is a general thing anyway. It's not really Model 3 specific.
There's a guide on our website that's
obviously it's ULEZ compliant.
The TfL website.
If someone asks, they won't. I was going to say if someone asks about private plates, but that is a Tesla issue. That's nothing to do with us. That Tesla will not do it. That's a Tesla.
No,
them and Tesla's nothing to do with us.
Again, going back to the site-specific things, in particular charging, depending where you're at, so for example, at Manchester, people that are there will already know this, but there's a number of car parks that have 7 kilowatt chargers via Greater Manchester. So if people are wanting to pick up their car, go in the Trafford Centre for a few hours, it might be that you suggest they go over there. Depending when this is and if they are live or not, there is their on-site supercharger, which is actually in the same area as the collection facility. So it may be that you can point people there. But just to stress that some people may ask about the different charging things. So like I say, Manchester, they do have the Type 2s there. And if people go there often, they will have seen them and say they'll be asking questions. Can I go charge there? What do I need to do? Do I need the app? So so maybe just have a quick look on ZapMap of what is available near you, because it may be, I'm not familiar with the other locations, but for example, in Leicester, there may be something similar, a local charge network or what have you. So it might be worth just knowing them, because they'll probably say, well, I want to go grab some lunch now. Can I charge somewhere or something like that? And obviously, just back on the point that we mentioned earlier, where the target should be between 40 and 60% battery on collection. That is a target. It won't mean that every car is between 40 and 60%. There will be some that is lower than that. So again, that's not really for us to get involved in, but just be aware that some people may be collecting and they may have less than 40%. Therefore, again, these charging things will be a bit more important if they need something local.
Yeah, perfect. And then I guess the other thing is just for maybe the S and X owners, myself included, if you're not familiar with, the basics of the three, we've obviously got the own orientation events, which Andy and Josh do a splendid job on. It's probably worth you jumping on one of those. The next one, I think, is on Monday, the 5th or 6th. That's the first point. Second point is which I post in the WhatsApp group, there's a new owner selection of videos, approximately 10 or 15 videos on Model 3. They're about 30 seconds or to a minute long. I think we touched on that earlier about the key card as an example. It's just how that works on the door, that sort of stuff. It's the real basics, but if you're completely new because you don't have a Model 3, then obviously that's worth doing, just going through learning on that. Perfect. Was there anything else, guys, or do we think that covers most things?
I think we've talked too much.
I think one last thing, if that's all right. I think one last thing would be not necessarily specific to the event, but if people could feedback to us, because obviously as more people do it over time, if we can learn from anything that's going on, if you can feedback, if there's anything you've picked up on, anything like that, let us know either in the WhatsApp or if you want to do it privately. If you send it to the Owners Group Facebook page, I believe all three of us have access to that anyway. So if not, we can share it with whoever doesn't, but I believe we all do. So that would be great, so that we know what's what, and share your experience in that way to us. Obviously, bearing in mind the rules of earlier, don't necessarily post it on the group, well, this happened or what have you, but feel free to share it with us so that we can feed that back to Tesla and we can also improve ourselves.
Yeah, because it just takes a phone call to the head of Tesla UK, or to any of those managers, those sites, and sort of say, this isn't working. Could we try this instead? And then I'm sure they'd be happy to try and help. But I guess fundamentally they're the boss, and we're just trying to help as best we can. So we've got to be a little bit flexible there. But yeah, I think that covers it all. Perfect. So any questions, pop them in the WhatsApp. That's probably the best, quickest way of getting an answer. Any problems with timings or dates or whatever, again, try and find someone to swap with maybe.
Yeah, and have fun.
Yeah, enjoy.
Have fun. Yeah, and also probably the last point. Yeah, I mean, a big thank you from Tesla's point of view. They were sort of blown away by the support for this sort of thing, and they appreciate that they don't want to be seen as not being able to do their jobs properly, and they need support. But I think we can add that extra level of excitement and fun, and I think new owners will appreciate that. So big thank you from them, and also thank you from us, because it is really important for the club as well to do these sort of things. So yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy.
See you later.
Bye.
You're
going to have fun.
Stop recording.
I clicked stop.
Stop recording. The recording will be saved in Josh's